54 teams to go on my road to predict all 131 teams this college football offseason. We're moving on to the Memphis Tigers. The Tigers were another fairly solid team in 2022. Now, Memphis, a program that is trying to elevate itself back to where they were competing for spots in New Year's Six bowl games back in the mid-2010s. This is a Memphis team that, probably should be able to do that here this year, but my bad. Memphis probably not going to end up competing for a spot in New Year's Six bowl games. That's not what I meant. But Memphis should be a team that maybe gets a little better this year, although they're losing a lot of their better weapons. So can Memphis in 2022 improve and maybe start to rise back up towards the top of the American Athletic Conference? Or will the Memphis Tigers fall short of the bowl season in 2022? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 131 teams in this college football offseason, which means I'm doing your favorite team. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that video gets uploaded. And the fans of the Memphis Tigers out there, you guys are going to know this team a lot more than I do. So if you feel like I missed something, you want to add something, anything of the sort, leave it in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to hear what you guys have to say. Let's talk about Memphis in 2022, my fifth-ranked team in the American Athletic Conference coming in to the 2022 college football season. And this, again, was a solid team last year. It wasn't anything to write home about. They weren't a super special team, but they got the job done. They were 6-6, 3-5 in conference play. Taking a look at the stats, statistically, had the third best offense, in the American Athletic Conference. Scored 435 yards per game. What? That makes no sense. They gained 435 yards per game. I apologize for my my brain today. 435 yards per game with around 30 points per game. And then on the defensive end of things, well, they had one of the better offenses in the conference. They also had one of the not as great defenses in the conference. Allowed 418 yards per game with around 30 points per game there as well. So scoring around 30 points per game, just over. They allowed just under 30 points a game. It's a Memphis team that you would like to see improve and you would like to see get better for sure. Taking a look at some talent that is leaving this team, you have a quarterback in Grant Gunnell who is gone. He's a transfer from Arizona, or a former Arizona transfer. Did not play last year or did not appear on the stat sheet at all, but you still lose him. He's gone. You have an athlete in there in Kylan Watkins who is gone. Had 51 rushing yards a season ago. In terms of receiving yards, had 4 catches for 13 yards. So it was an all-around just kind of athlete player, and you lose his production. But this is your biggest loss on the offensive end by a long shot. You lose your best target. Calvin Austin had 1,149 yards, 8 touchdown catches a season ago. You lose his production as well as your second leading receiver. Tight end Sean Dykes is gone. 654 yards and 7 touchdowns for him a season ago. When you take a look elsewhere, lots of offensive linemen are going to be gone off this team, most notably in Dylan Parham. When you take a look at the defensive side of things, well, there are some players leaving here as well. Morris Joseph had 38 tackles and a sack and a half a season ago. Also, John Tate is going to be leaving this defensive line there as well. Had 2 sacks, 36 tackles a season ago. When you take a look at the linebacking group, J.J. Russell is gone. He was the leading tackler last year at 123 of them with a sack and an interception in there as well. Also, Thomas Pickens, Cole Mashburn, some other names leaving the linebacking group there as well. And when you take a look at the defensive backs leaving, Jacoby Francis, Sanchez Blake, and then Tyrez Lindsey are a couple names that are leaving this team there as well. Blake and Lindsey, pretty solid guys there. 45 and 39 tackles respectively. Cole Mashburn had 46 tackles a season ago. Thomas Pickens had 50 of them. So you're losing a lot of top talent on this defense is what I've been meaning to say for a long time. But when you look at players that are coming back in here, Seth Hennigan, the quarterback, hey, you have him coming back. 3,322 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Pretty solid numbers there. We'll see how he does when he doesn't have a guy as talented as Calvin Austin to throw to, although there are still some good receivers in this room, and we'll talk more about them later. Brandon Thomas is coming back as a running back for this team, had 669 yards and 8 touchdowns. But they also had Javion Ducker over from Northern Illinois, the MAC champions from a season ago, and Ducker was fantastic for that Huskies team. He was really good. He's going to provide a little bit of a rushing boost to this Memphis team. Going to be a little bit of a 1-2 there with Brandon Thomas in the backfield. When you take a look at the wide receiver position, Jaden Ivory comes back, had 413 yards, 3 touchdowns a season ago. Eddie Lewis comes back, 349 yards and 4 touchdowns. But they're getting a transfer over. And it's a pretty substantial transfer that Joseph Skates is coming over to this team. He's a wide receiver from Iowa State, a program that's getting Xavier Hutchinson back. So Joseph Skates said, you know what? I'm out, and he's transferred to Memphis. So definitely not going to be a Calvin Austin type player. Jaden Ivory may prove to be the number 1 target this year. But hey, getting Joseph Skates coming into this program, that's a huge boost to this wide receiver room. When you look at the defensive side of things, Jalen Allen and then Wardalis Ducksworth, one of the more fun names to say in the entire nation. You have him coming back. Ducksworth had 4 sacks a season ago. Jalen Allen had 5, so you return all that production. The linebacking group, Xavier Collins comes back, was another top tackler for this team, had 70 of them a season ago. And you also get Geoffrey Canton-Arku, who's a transfer coming into this program. Defensive backs, Quindell Johnson had 104 tackles, 11 passes defended, and an interception. A season ago, Greg Rubin had 58 tackles, 14 passes defended. You have him coming back, as well as Rodney Owens, 78 tackles, 5 passes defended, 2 interceptions a season ago. There is a lot of talent still here on this Memphis team. So if you are a fan of the Memphis Tigers, I know you went 6-6 last year with arguably a better offensive roster than you had last year. But I mean, getting Joseph Skates in is a huge deal. Getting Javion Ducker in is a huge deal there as well. So this is definitely going to be a Memphis team that can be competitive in the American Athletic yet again this year. Should be another favorite to make it back to the postseason. But let's take a look at their schedule before we kind of talk about that. So they start out with 2 road games. One of them is a non-conference game. They got to go on the road to play Mississippi State. That's going to be an interesting game. If you guys know the way that Mississippi State game went a season ago, Mississippi State probably could have ended up an 8-win team a season ago if that game would have gone a little bit differently. Memphis ended up pulling it out with the controversy and all that. But Memphis now has to go on the road to play in Starkville, and that's a fan base in Starkville that's looking for that team to take a step in the right direction. Other non-conference games, well, you have games against Arkansas State, North Texas, and then North Alabama. All those games are at home for the Tigers. When you look at games in conference play, you got to go play on the road against Navy Week 2, Tulane, East Carolina, and SMU to cap off the year, and then you get games at home against Temple, Houston, UCF, and Tulsa. So let's talk about this Memphis schedule. Well, the big elephant in the room is, you avoid playing Cincinnati, the American Athletic champions from a season ago. Albeit you still have to play Houston, but you get them at home, right? You get them at home. That's a huge get for Memphis. Houston's going to be a really, really good team this year, and I think Memphis can be competitive. Houston is returning a lot, returning a lot of really good talent. Memphis maybe can pull off an upset there in that game. Who knows? But there are a lot of tricky games on the schedule. I mean, the first off, going on the road to play Mississippi State is just not going to be an easy game by any stretch. By really any stretch. That's a Mississippi State team that's returning their quarterback in Will Rogers, returning some really good talent on both sides of the football there for Mississippi State. Now, they are losing some pretty key guys, but I think as long as Will Rogers is that quarterback, Mike Leach is that coach, and the fans in Starkville are loud, that's going to be a good Mississippi State team. So definitely got to watch out when you go on the road to play in Starkville. When you look elsewhere in the schedule, I mean, a road game against Tulane, that's a tricky one. I know Tulane had a very poor season last year. I understand. But Tulane is a program that expects to bounce back in 2022, and a team that I have right on the edge of bowl season. If you want to know whether they make it, go watch my Tulane video. But, I mean, back-to-back road games here against 2 solid teams in the American Athletic, I feel like, in 2022. East Carolina, a team that I feel like could be a potential American sleeper. Same thing with Tulane. I feel like they could be an American sleeper if they wake up. And there you go. Some interesting non-conference games, too, as well. I mean, Arkansas State, North Texas, they're interesting. Maybe not super great. I think Memphis should be able to get both of them. On the road against SMU, UCF, some other games that you can throw in there to talk about as well. UCF is losing Gabriel, losing Jalen Robinson. still figures to be a solid team as Gus Malzahn takes in season 2. And then SMU is starting the post Sonny Dykes era. Still going to be a dangerous team in 2022. Make no mistake. I don't do game-by-game predictions. I do a more percentage-based outlook. Tell me predict the team's record. So if the game is in red, I don't really see you winning the game. If the game is in orange, still don't see you winning the game. But hey, this college football and upsets can happen. Yellow are your 50-50 high upset potential games. Games in yellow-green are games that you should win, but you got to watch out for teams on the other side of the ball, and games in green have you winning. So North Alabama, you probably should be able to win that one. I mean, it's an FCS team, not a very good FCS team at that. Should be able to win there. Another thing for Memphis that I haven't mentioned yet. Defensive coordinator, now going to be Matt Barnes. He was the play caller for most of the year at Ohio State a season ago. So you have him coming at defensive coordinator. All right, now that I've said that, let's go ahead and talk more about the schedule. So you got to go on the road to play Mississippi State. Again, as long as Will Rogers is there, healthy, as long as Mike Leach is the coach with that air raid attack, as long as the offense is efficient, the defense is solid, and the fans in Starkville are loud, that's a Mississippi State team that can win 8-9 games this year. Absolutely can happen. If you want to know how I project them, go watch my Mississippi State video. I've already done them. But Mississippi State going on the road after what happened last year, that's just going to be a really tough game for Memphis to win. I don't necessarily see them being able to pull that one out. Every other non-conference game, though, again, I've already talked about North Alabama, should be able to win. Arkansas State, North Texas, you're probably good to win those games there as well. Some games in conference play, I feel like you're good to win. Tulsa, that team, in my opinion, probably going to take a little bit of a step back in 2022. Navy on the road. I mean, yeah, watch out for them because it's on the road. They play a tricky style of football to defend against, but I just don't think Navy is going to be that great this year. And then Temple, same thing there, I think. Watch out for them, but with Memphis getting that home, I think they should be able to take care of business. Lots of games in yellow on the schedule. A couple games where Memphis could possibly pull off an upset. I mean, you got the Houston game, you have the UCF game. Those are two games right there that more than capable of pulling off an upset there. Probably two of the top 3 teams in the conference coming into 2022. And when you look at those two teams, they're going to be solid teams. They're going to be teams that can push for the American Championship and a spot in the New Year's Six Bowl game. And Memphis has a chance to pull off the upsets against them. But they also have a chance to get upset themselves when they go on the road and play Tulane, play East Carolina, and then on the road against SMU to cap off the season. Could be a game that decides whether or not which team is 8-4, which team is 7-5, that kind of thing. I think it's going to be an interesting game to watch there at the end of the year between Memphis and SMU, who are going to start the post-Sonny Dykes era, as I've mentioned before. I do think this Memphis team is going to be solid in 2022, and overall I see them taking a step up in their record. Now, this necessarily might not be as talented of an offense, but I feel like the ball is going to bounce favorably for Memphis this year. I got them at 7-5. I think they can be as high as 9-3. I like the talent that's on this team. I like that running back duo. Could be one of the most underrated duos in the nation. I like the addition of Joseph Skates. When you look at all the defensive talent that they have there, that's a lot of really good defensive talent. Among some other names that I didn't listen there, Ira Henry, who I haven't mentioned yet, is a transfer offensive lineman coming in. This is a Memphis team that's going to be good. I got them sitting at 7-5 in 2022. Yes, that does mean that they lose a majority of their swing games, but this Memphis team, I think, can win 9 games. I just don't know that they're ready to take that leap quite yet. Maybe in a couple years under Ryan Silverfield, can they get there? But not 2022. Got them at 7-5. Thank you guys so much for watching my video on the Memphis Tigers. Be sure you like, comment, subscribe, and anything like that to help support the channel. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.